It's time now to go to Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efreni. Great Malabite. I see you on the screen already.
Yes, good morning, Ruben. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, Tundu. Victoria Tundu MKO Abiola.
Morning.
Yes. Let's start with this day, Nigeria's newspaper of records. The lead story, Nigeria must decentralize now or risk disintegration. Soyinka warns, urges Buhari not to bully secessionists and forget open grazing. Yes, Professor Wole Soyinka, the Nobel laureate, yesterday on our Newsday program and made a statement where he called on President Buhari to do the needful, saying that Nigeria cannot remain one country if it fails to decentralize as fast as possible, adding that he is not saying anything new because analysts like Ruben and Tundu, retired generals, others have maintained the same position. Expectedly, the statement by the Nobel laureate is hogging the headlines in a number of other newspapers. Yes, you listen to Arise News, you get your lead story. It's becoming a familiar pattern. Daily Sun newspaper, Soyinka warns of looming breakup, recommends decentralization as remedy, kicks against open grazing. Yes, the Guardian newspaper, Nigeria's The Guardian newspaper, the same story. Nigeria on suicide slide may not see another June 12th. Soyinka warns, urges president to stop exuding false confidence, listen to citizens, restructure the country. PDP governors decry federal government's excessive borrowing, NNPC's opaque operations, want Twitter ban reviewed in nation's interest. The Vanguard newspaper, also the same story, Nigeria on suicide slide must decentralize fast. But below the photograph in the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, the story, militant reply headsmen vow to repel attacks on Delta. Will retaliate any attack on Delta. Men, that's the movement for the emancipation of the Niger Delta. South will resist attempt to deride open grazing ban. Clark, that's per E.K. Clark. Now, the Punch newspapers, the newspapers are not up there. Yes, the Punch newspaper. Buhari regime borrows $2.02 billion from China. $719.61 million.
Well, Emmanuel Efreni,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. We need to take a short commercial break. When we return, the review of newspapers with you will continue. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the morning show here on the Arise News channel. Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efreni is still with us, reviewing top stories in today's newspapers from around the world. Great Malabite.
Yes, we'll go to the Punch newspaper. The lead story, Buhari regime borrows $2.02 billion from China. $719.61 million used to service Chinese loan since inception in 2015. PDP governors lampoon Buhari over huge debt profile CBN operations. Yes, below the photograph, we have that story there also. Will respond appropriately to Fulani attack on Delta, PANDEF men, PANDEF, the Pan-Niger Delta Forum, as well as the movement for the emancipation of Niger Delta, promising to respond in kind if Delta State is attacked. Yes, there's this letter circulating. The police commissioner in Delta State said no cause for alarm. They are on their toes, they are ready to prevent any attack, and we hope that is the case. Because recall that there was this information that some headers armed have taken over the forest in the southwest. Nothing was done to check them, and a gongon was attacked, persons killed. We don't want that to happen in Delta State. We must prevent any attack and loss of life. Now, the Daily Independent newspaper, Nigeria heading for bankruptcy, PDP governors raise the alarm, reject federal government's reason for Twitter ban, while the Leadership newspaper, 16 days after abduction, Islamia pupils fall sick. Those 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, they are still in the forest. We're not hearing anything from the government. Parent panic, raise funds through churches, mosques as bandits reduce ransom to 150 million naira. We won't pay ransom. Niger government insists. Then what are you doing if you will not pay ransom? Government of the Niger State. IDPs reject local government chairman's rice gift. Of course, UNICEF has called for the unconditional release of those children, 154 of them in the forest as we speak, and we must not forget them. And that is one thing the Daily Trust newspaper does regularly, not forgetting those who have been kidnapped. And if you look at just below the masthead on the left-hand side, 2,610 days since Chibok girls were abducted. Chibok girls are still in the forest. Lai Charibu is still under captivity. Now, these children and many others, not so reported, are in captivity. Now, the lead story of Daily Trust, we are at mercy of kidnappers, Emir of Zauzau cries out. 30 killed in Benue, Plateau, Niger. Insecurity still all over the place. The buck stops at President Muhammadu Buhari's table. The president of the country and the commander-in-chief. You cannot push that responsibility or pass the buck to governors or local government chairmen or traditional rulers for that matter. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, Buhari's insecurity, Buhari's administration overwhelmed. Northern Khan, that's the Christian Association of Nigeria, frets over looming food crisis. President alone has coercive security instrument. Opposition governors. Buhari not listening to Nigerians. Soyinka, other business stories here. Business day. Nigeria's textile import rises by 258% in Q1, despite FX restriction. Despite the money put into the cotton garment, textile and garment factory by the sector by the CBN, we are still importing so much. Yes. Now, the News Direct newspaper, federal government unveils technology to tackle fuel tanker explosions. While the Business News newspaper, West African Business News, 2.34 trillion naira new borrowing to swell Nigeria's local debt interest rates. Now, the foreign newspapers quickly. The Times of UK, we must learn to live with COVID. According to the Prime Minister of UK, is warning Johnson extends lockdown and speeds up jab. Yes, expectedly, the new date with that 4-week extension is sometime in July 19 for all restrictions to be lifted in England and the UK. Now, the Jerusalem Post quickly, flag march approval despite Hamas threat. Route will not go through Damascus Gate. The IDF on alert, 2,000 police officers to patrol, while the New York Times looking at the situation in Israel as Israel chiefs, Biden has chance at stronger ties. That's the New York Times. Big hurdles in Middle East. Yes, President Biden is coming up with warmer tone towards the new leader. And of course, it took President Biden 3 months before he put a call across to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, or less than 3 hours after the swearing in of Prime Minister Bennett. President Biden sent him warm congratulations, tells you of the new relationship. But of course, already senior diplomats of the U.S. are meeting with Defense Minister Benny Gantz to discuss matters of interest, including Gaza and the Middle East peace process. Okay. Ruben Rufai and Tundu.
Mr. Feni, don't forget that what Netanyahu told Naftali Bennett after the meeting, that I will still come back and take over power from you.
The meeting lasted less than 1 hour.
Less than 30 minutes, in fact.
30 minutes.
And after the meeting...
That's the transition meeting.
And after the meeting, he came back to tell him that we will still come out and upturn you and take power from you. That's what Netanyahu told him. He said, I will be back. So, and that's Netanyahu. But thank you so much, Mr. Feni.